Did you find this amusing? That is the question I want you to ask yourself at the end of today's episode. I don't need you to write it down or profess it from the highest tower. Just ask yourself deep down when this is all said and done, did you find this amusing? Is death a funny, comical topic? Not always. In some cases, sure. We've all had that laugh in any number of bad action movies when the villain dies by some outrageous means. Maybe he's catapulted through a swarm of bees into a wood chipper. I don't know, but you get the idea. But does your reaction change when that person is actually real? Do you care more? Less? Does that person have to be someone near and dear to you? Do they have to be in the same city or even the same country for you to give a shit? Because people die in horrendous fashions all day, every day, and most of them, so long as they're not making the 6 o'clock news or your Facebook feed, they're deemed irrelevant. They don't matter to you. So, at the end of this episode, after I've gone over the most recent IK victim, ask yourself in all seriousness, did you find this amusing? I'm Ben Robinson, and here's what we know. Manny Garcia is dead. The creator of the pranking channel Pop Rocks has gone out in a blaze of glory. Now, I seem to recall mentioning a few episodes back that IK was going to do something big and bold to get her name back in the ring, and a few of you gave me shit for it, and here we are, beholding one of the most elaborate and public murders I think I've ever seen or heard about, and that is a pretty long list. So here we go. Manny Garcia, the notorious pranker whose prank of choice involved guns in public spaces, has been murdered in a horrible, painful, and downright spectacular fashion. The clue last week pointing in his direction, and I honestly thought it was going another way, was candy exploding out of a jack-in-the-box. But enough about the clue, let's talk about the kill. Garcia was found in the middle of a regional food festival over the weekend. Not that weird, right? But then you take into account that he was dressed as a giant s'more, yes, the delectable chocolatey gooey campfire treat, and carrying a sign which read Billings Marshmallows, toasted to perfection, and the plot doth caramelize a little further. Now, the sign was physically stitched to the costume's hands, and Manny himself, according to the report, is believed to, get this, believed to have been forcibly strapped into the giant flaming s'more suit. I think it's safe to say he wasn't in there by choice. Now, as it turns out, Manny and Billings Marshmallows have a bit of a history. During the heyday of his career back in 2015, Manny went on a binge of pranking the food company's mascot whenever he made a public appearance, several times chasing him down with a variety of fake weapons just to get footage of the fat, lovable logo running for his life. Anyways, in addition to being strapped into the costume, he was gagged, blindfolded, and had a pair of noise-canceling earmuffs taped to his head. Also taped to his head, get this, were 3 to 4 bags of marshmallows, because why not, right? From there, Manny was set alight somewhere near the north entrance and left to run free, which he did for all of about 50 meters before succumbing to the flames, which brings me to the most interesting tidbit of the coroner's report, and that is the cause of death. Smoke inhalation, first-degree burns? You would think, but you would be wrong. No, unfortunately for Manny Garcia, the official cause of death is drowning. But how can that be? How does a burning man drown? Well, when you expose marshmallows to an open flame and you have several bags of them wrapped around your face, they tend to melt. So that's right, folks, he drowned in molten marshmallows. Now, I know IK's good. I'm sure most of you do as well. But at what point do you ask yourself, how much of this was planned and how much of it was luck? Because if I had to guess, I'd say knowing our girl, she slipped Manny a little something before setting him off. Maybe a poison or an overdose of adrenaline, something that this whole escapade wasn't just left purely to chance. That's my guess at least. The burn damage to the body is making the tox report take a little bit longer than usual, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Now, Billings Marshmallows, the brand whose mascot Manny was wearing and whose slogan he was carrying, has released a statement saying that they in no way condone this horrific act of violence and are in no way associated with the image killer. Although how funny would it be if they were? If IK was an executive at a marshmallow company, I mean, I almost hope so, because if that's the case and they catch her, that story's just going to write itself. Now, IK is going a little off script on this one. This is the first kill she's committed in full public view. Sure, there was Boomer Branson behind the backstop at the gun range, but there was no way to be sure that he wasn't already dead beforehand, and he most certainly wasn't in full public view. Needless to say, when you do anything in a crowd these days, it's hitting social media pretty quick, and when you do it in a crowd of foodies and elite Yelpers, it's safe to say you're about to get some more than decent coverage. Live streams were popping up even as Manny was still stumbling about, before the 911 call even went in. Now, to be fair, most people thought it was a legitimate prank or extremely tasteless ad campaign. But even so, there's something to be said for the fact that the police now have a few hundred minutes of footage to scrub through, and who knows, maybe the murderess herself made an appearance. So, to anyone who was there that day, think back and think hard, because you might have caught a glimpse of the image killer. And that is all I've got, guys. Good night.